Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome back to the trenches, because that is what Chelsea have fully and officially returned to. 6 games into the Premier League season, 2 losses, 2 draws, and just 2 wins. 10 points already top. 10 points. And we've not even played anyone good yet. Have we? I can't even remember who we've all played, but it doesn't feel like we've played anyone good. We just shoot ourselves in the foot on a weekly fucking basis. We've got a manager with the worst mentality of anyone I've ever seen in my whole entire life. What on earth are your fucking substitutions the second we concede an equalizer? And you're like, oh, yeah, that's brilliant. Let's concede an equalizer. Let's sub all the defenders on. I mean, it's an utter disgrace. This whole game was a disgrace. And the sad thing is, it started off all right. We actually played well in the first 25, 30 minutes until we scored, essentially. Played all right then. But then we took our foot off the gas more and more. And then, Trevoh Chalobah happened. Well, Andre Santos and Trevoh Chalobah happened. We had another man sent off. Back-to-back Premier League games with a straight red card to one of our players. I mean, it's just bloody fantastic, isn't it? I mean, I'm so fucking happy. Oh, boys, I'm fucking done with it. I'm fucking done with it, man. Like, what is this? I live in some sort of weird deja vu loophole. What is this? Am I having to go back to the 2022 season? What the fuck is going on? Who are we? What the fuck are we doing? Oh, my God. We lost to Chelsea Academy. We literally lost to Chelsea Academy. The only problem is their only good player was Danny Welbeck, and he's way too old for Chelsea to ever sign him. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Welcome, everybody that's tuned in, by the way. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you all. Fire Red said, go defensive and still let 2 more goals in as well. Put on attackers and get beat that way. Exactly. Dylan says 3-1 defeat with 2 late goals is completely unacceptable. I'm not really sure if I'm that bothered about, especially the 3rd goal. That doesn't make a difference to me at all, if I'm being honest. But everything before that, sure as hell does. Daniel says, Enzo Maresca out. He needs to go. Sack him. He is not Chelsea level. I mean, it's a conversation we need to have. SMK says 0 minutes for Garnacho and Gittins back-to-back Premier League games. Yeah. And I'm honestly not sure what's going on. Like, I'm genuinely so baffled in my head about how we are in this situation. Like, is the manager just trying to make a stance, make a point? Or is he actually shit? Because it's one of those two. Like, there is one of them. One of those 2 things is currently going on. And you guys know, if you've watched this channel for long enough, well, I say for long enough, I've not had him for that long, but if you watched me last season or the beginning of this season, I like Maresca. I back Enzo Maresca. I want to support Enzo Maresca. But what he did last week at United and what he did today is an absolute piss take. It's an absolute piss take. And you can't act like that. You can't make decisions like that. Back-to-back games, you just absolutely throw it as soon as we go a man down. What are you doing? What are you doing? But let's not all pretend that it's all Enzo Maresca's fault. It's not Enzo Maresca that's getting himself sent off, or it's not Enzo Maresca that's getting the player sent off. But the way he deals with it and reacts to it, now, sure, he could have made completely different substitutions and we might have still lost. That may well have happened. But then at least we wouldn't have felt like, what the fuck are these decisions you're doing? Because, like, if you made defensive subs at still 1-0 up, I would even get it. Like, I wouldn't like it maybe, but I would get it. But he brought on Badiashile and Lavia for Neto at 1-1, literally straight after we conceded. I mean, that's just a joke. Genuinely a joke. Mikey says, Maresca out tonight. It seems a bit wild, and I'm not at that point yet, but I understand why people are. Loco Coco Pops says, our form and these mistakes are getting worse. He's not doing anything to change it. His decisions are making things worse. Mid-game. Yeah. Flex says, he's shit. Bro, I think he's sacked before January. Maresca is using the option he has. What option is that? I'm not sure what exactly you meant. I think he only gets sacked if he clashes with the sporting directors and the board. And Loco, we're in the process of exactly that happening because Mr. Maresca is quite often recently, not taking blame for certain things and putting the blame on the club and the sporting directors instead. So there you go. Jonas says, another season, hoping we get top 4 and saying next season we challenge. Honestly, I think this might be a slightly you problem, Jonas, because I didn't think we would challenge this season. It was very obvious to me that we'd be scraping top 4 again, especially after the summer. But even before the summer, I was like, unless we make crazy transfer movements, we're not going to catch up Liverpool and Arsenal and even City. That was my perspective anyway. And then we saw the summer And then he was sure as hell fucking sure that we weren't going to challenge. At least to me, it was. In your opinion, if Maresca goes, who would you like to see replace him? Honestly, Dylan, this is my problem. This is my big problem, Dylan. Because how do I know, mate? How do I know? Does it matter? Does it really matter? Because in the grand scheme of things, as much as I'm really annoyed at Maresca's decisions, both last week against United and today, the very crux of the problem is not Maresca. Like, Maresca is not helping the issue at the moment and is making things worse at the moment with bad decisions. But he's not the crux of the problem. The problem is that we don't have a squad. We've spent £2 billion and we don't have a squad. You know? Like, we basically don't have centre-backs going into next week playing Liverpool. Now, Badiashile is seemingly all of a sudden back fit. Not sure why he had to come off the bench, but sure. No idea if Toast is going to be back. But obviously, Chalobah is suspended. Fofana is still out with the concussion protocol against Liverpool next week. So, who's going to play next week? I honestly don't know. And honestly, Ricky says De Zerbi incoming. I wouldn't even be shocked at it. Obviously, there was the clips going around from Strasbourg playing Marseille yesterday, and Egbali and Winstanley, I think, was there. And weirdly, I think Levi Cole was there. I'm not quite sure why that was going on. Like in the tunnel, I'm not sure if before or after the game, shaking the hand of De Zerbi. So I'm not ruling that out. But do you really think that's going to then be any different to Maresca? They play very similar styles. They're both short Italians. It's the same problem, really, isn't it? Plus, he defends sex offenders. So I'm not really a fan of De Zerbi at all. So not particularly fucking buzzing. We could just kidnap Jose Mourinho on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we play Benfica this week. Because obviously he's coming to town. And at least with Jose, I wouldn't be having to mess about with, is he going to say the truth or is he going to be messed about by the sporting directors? But yeah, like I say, the crux of the problem to me is still the sporting directors and the squad we've built. We don't have centre-backs at all. We don't have any good enough attackers. And the players that we have signed, other than João Pedro, Maresca seems to not like at all. Now, is Maresca being a little bit, naive, foolish, selfish, ignorant maybe? At being seemingly so annoyed at the transfers he has been given, because I'm like, did you not watch what happened to Poch? Did you not know that this was going to happen? Because we all knew it was going to happen. So why are you upset by it now? You know what I mean? But obviously, we are not there in these conversations that the manager has, or at that point, future manager has with the sporting directors as to what vision they kind of sell him, as to what they tell him, oh, you're going to get this power, this power, this power. Because the fact that Poch and now Maresca are both getting annoyed at not having more of a say, when this is so blatantly obvious that they're not going to get any say, is interesting. It's really interesting. Ricky also says, is it really his fault for centre-back making mistakes and getting red cards? I'm not even sure. We'll obviously get to the Chalobah red cards. Like, yeah, it's clumsy, obviously, but I think more unlucky than anything else. And the big blame for me has to go much more to Andre Santos. But obviously Chalobah didn't do well in the situation either. Chalobah is back up at best, bro. So is Tosin. I mean, they all are, mate. We said this all along, didn't we? Craig just is sad. I'm also sad, Craig. I'm also sad. The bigger question is, do you trust these directors to bring in someone better than Maresca? Absolutely not, Banana. And number one, yes, that is the bigger question. But number two, not only is that the bigger question, but there's another bigger question that's also bigger than will we get someone better than Maresca? Will it make a difference? Because is the squad in a situation where it makes a difference, where that's the decisive factor? Not really sure. Local Coco Pub says, when both the players and the coach are making bad decisions, we're in trouble. This is no bueno. No, it really is no bueno. Cole Palmer says Maresca is not making Chelsea Christmas. I see him. He's not making Christmas. I see him gone during international break. Maybe. How can you as a manager make the same stupid substitutions 2 consecutive games? This is the big issue, isn't it, Cardell? This is my issue as well. I'm like, how? Back-to-back games, you're doing the same idiotic, stupid thing. Like, obviously, it was slightly less bad today in the sense of that it wasn't after 5 minutes. But even still, it was arguably extra bad because it was after just conceding a 1-1. Like I say, at 1-0, I kind of get it. But here you go. Uzaya says, lost to United side that loses to everyone else and now just lost to a team whose best players we fall. But, well, yes, but also we lose to United every year. So, let's not pretend like that's a new thing. So, yeah, but, I mean... What can you say, Jose? Yeah, you're right. You're fucking right. But what can you even say about that? We're a dead club and in crisis. This is my question. Are we actually in full crisis now? Because we don't have a squad. We don't have any defenders. There's no hope for anything getting better. We don't know the Cole Palmer situation. He's now going to be out for the next 4 weeks, and then we hope he's better. We don't even know if he's going to be better. So that is completely up in the air. No one has any idea whether that's going to go any better or not. We have 0 strikers. Maresca has no interest in playing Mark Yu. I mean, we're just mudded. We're absolutely mudded. Cake Same says, I don't care. It's not a loss. It's not a Brighton win. It's referee win. Disgrace. See, please elaborate. Because I would actually say that the referee gave us a lifeline, or VAR gave us a lifeline, and we didn't even use it. Because I think Malo Gusto should have been, certainly been given a penalty against us and probably a red card for dangerous play. I mean, he literally kicked the guy in the head. I don't know how VAR said there's no conclusive evidence whether he actually hit him or not. To me, it looked very fucking conclusive. Just looking at the replay, it looked like he hit him straight in the head. So I think Brighton should have had a penalty and maybe Gusto another red card. So I'm not really sure if we can blame the ref, if I'm being totally honest with you, bro. But please elaborate what exactly you meant. Crisis time. Yay, we're familiar with a lot of crises. Like these in the past. Bring it on. Trev cutting his silly hair. Couldn't stop him from cutting out silly mistakes. Yep. I mean, I'm not sure if the hair was silly, but he certainly looks different now, let's say. People slander Pies for wanting us to build on the Club World Cup win and bring in elite talents. Look at us now. Yeah, exactly. As soon as you say something against the ownership, the little cretins come out and they abuse you, and then you stop talking about it. Even though you kind of don't really realize in your head that it's just a stupid minority, but they still abuse you so much and you don't want to talk about it anymore anyway. Max P says, Maresca doesn't know how to manage a red card. What the fuck was Enzo still on the pitch? Oh, well, I don't know. But at the same time, Enzo was one of the only fighters that we have in the team. So if you take him off, we're just going to capitulate even more, in my opinion. Maresca didn't make stupid subs. Delavia by the shield subs were supposed. And then you stop them. What is this, banana? Like, excuse me, but fuck yourself. What are you talking about, man? Then you stop the subs happening. We didn't even sub with the goal pause, with the break and play for the goal. We subbed another couple minutes later. Change who you're subbing on. What the fuck? No, absolutely not. Our Leonardo DiCaprio policy is killing us. Oh, yes, boy. It sure is killing us. Chelsea are literally turning into Spurs of last season. I'm not sure about that, but sure. It gave us a lifeline, then still dunked 2 goals on our top. Yeah. The ref dunked 2 goals on us, did he? No. Josh and Buddy Shilvers, Liverpool. Oh, brother, they're going to fry us. Well, or Hato, right? I actually thought Hato was half decent. I didn't even mind him. Surprised by how well he did. And honestly, it makes me question Maresca even more because I saw him do that at centre-back and I'm like, and you played him in midfield the whole time. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Defense is garbage. They can't even contest headers no more. Nope. Santos is a liability. Well, sometimes he is. Sometimes he's really crucial to us, isn't he? So it's, I don't know. This ownership is a damn crisis for fuck's sake. Yeah, it is. It really is. Ross Elliott says, it feels like we're about to drop to Benfica and Liverpool, not counting Lincoln City. That's 4 L's in a row we're possibly facing. Yep. Actually, I don't think we'll lose to Benfica, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win. Well, Liverpool, I mean, to be fair, Liverpool lost in the 98th minute, to Palace today. But if anything, in my opinion, that makes it even less likely that we get anything against them because they'll be trying even harder not to drop points again. Maresca is literally only good when our players are on form. He doesn't know how to manage a team with the resources he has or manage games. Not very elite if that's the case. But then again, the elite managers are always the one that complain the most when their squads aren't good enough. So, it's a little bit of a, swings and roundabouts, that one. Couture Criminal says, Achimpong was preyed on by Minte. Well, yeah. But also Gusto. Like, Gusto was fucking awful when he came on. Not only did he initially come on at right wing and literally stop a good counter-attack just before we went 2-1 down, literally right before it, he also, let them cross every single time as if he wasn't even there. I think he should have kept Santos on despite the bad pass. Maybe would have tried hard to make up for his mistake. But honestly, this guy, at this point, that isn't the decisive thing, in my opinion. This guy's talking bananas. He really is. The day Malo Gusto is sold, you or Lewis or someone do a celebration stream, mate. We have to. We really, really have to. All was good until Santos started playing like it was a testimonial, mate. Maresca garbage again. Maresca out. We will likely exit the Champions League at the group stage. That is completely wrong. That is not going to happen. Maresca, blame game now. How quick we went from rating him to whatever it is now. Gusto was bad too. That's true. Don't even compare Palace's defense against ours. That too when everyone is out. How long is Palmer out for? Indefinitely. Well, but at least until after the next international break. See, and this is interesting, right? Because in a way, I would, if you didn't look at the context, I would probably agree with this take. But you have to the reason why we're mad at Maresca isn't necessarily at the fact. Well, at least I'm not. Lots of fans are simply angry because we lost 2 games against United and then today against who did we even fucking play? Brighton. But for me, it's just how he handled situations and how he just made the game more difficult for us. Like, not everything is your fault as the manager. He's not at fault for Sanchez getting a red card. He's not at fault for Palmer being injured. He's not at fault for a lot of the injuries or any of the injuries. He's not at fault for even Chalobah getting sent off today. But how he deals with those situations, he's very much at fault for, and he fucked it up. And he fucked it up badly. And it's really, really getting on my nerves. Now, let's quickly look at the team that we played today, because we did something different. So as much as we're critical of Maresca today, he changed things up because we didn't build up in a back three. For the first time in, I'm not sure if we've ever done this under Maresca, maybe 1 or 2 occasions last season. But in the grand scheme of things, we have never done this. We built up in a back two with just Hato playing centre-back and Trevoh Chalobah playing centre-back before he obviously got sent off. Then we kind of had almost like a wide midfield three with Caicedo on his own as the DM. And then you had Cruyer and Reece James as kind of like, almost like left mids behind the left and right wingers. So that was kind of weird, but obviously Reece James also filled in here a lot. Sometimes Esteval came inside and Reece James did an overlap, and the same happened on the other side with Gusto, really. So yeah, just the whole thing is a little bit odd, if we're being honest. Well, I say odd. Like I say, we started the game all right, and we actually played well. Like, I thought we had a good first half. No, actually, let me re-emphasize. We played well until we scored. And then an issue occurred that now is honestly doesn't even feel like worth talking about anymore. But I really think it's a serious issue. We take the lead, we play all right, and as soon as we score, we take the foot off the gas. And it happens every single game we play. As soon as we take the lead, there is no intent, there is no urge to score more. There never is. Like, I'm not saying we completely stop trying, but it's just not at all comparable to when we're drawing early in the game when it's 0-0. As soon as we take a 1-0 lead, or as soon as we, make it 2-1 after being 1-0 down or whatever, for example, it's just, we just don't have that urge to score more. And this is why we constantly put ourselves into these positions, because we could have been 2 or 3-0 up. We could have been. And if we had been 2 or 3-0 up, the red card probably wouldn't have mattered, because it would have been far enough gone. But we put ourselves in this position constantly. And I'm really not sure where it comes from. Is it Enzo Maresca? Is it the players just themselves? Is it the pressure? I honestly don't know. Because Local Coco Pub says we had a similar issue on the pitch, coming out in the second half and just collapsing. Oh, that's not what I was saying, but that is partly an issue as well. But yeah, I mean, recent games this season, it's been a problem that we started games really badly, rather than that it's been like starting second halves badly. So it's just constantly different errors. If he could have stopped the subs, then he definitely should have. Oh, well, if you're assuming that he couldn't have, I'm telling you he could have. He definitely could have done, bro. Like, we've literally seen the manager stop subs once the board has already been held up and the player's already on his way to be subbed off, and the manager have still subbed subs. He definitely could have stopped it if he wanted to. Even if Enzo performs bad, we now just need him for goals and assists. Otherwise, there's no one apart from Palmer and Joao. Yeah, and I mean, you say that. When was the last time Joao Pedro was involved in actually getting a goal? Do you know what I mean? So what have I missed? Garbage team, garbage manager, Maresca out. We cannot become Cole Palmer FC again. This is Eden Hazard situation again. Maresca out. Yeah, but the problem is the manager isn't the boy the man that's going to change it. And also Palmer is out for another 4 weeks, so we're definitely not Palmer FC at all. Currently, those red cards are just getting so annoying. It's the stupidest setup, getting players having to chase the last man and committing to stupid challenges. No, Marcos. I mean, maybe I see your point in principle. In this case, it purely happened with a bad pass of Andre Santos. This was not a bad setup by Maresca, not a bad structure, not like anything. We had the ball under no pressure, and Andre Santos just played a bad pass, basically straight into the path of the Brighton attacker, and then Chalobah gave a clumsy foul away, unfortunately. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Maresca should just do attacking subs, man. What's the point of defensive subs when we concede 2 or 3? Give the opposition to think about something at least. Yeah, exactly. Not only the red cards, we also get far too many yellows. Our heads go far too easy. Yeah, it's individual mistakes after individual mistake. Yeah, absolutely. Gusto sub killed us. It kind of genuinely did. The only thing I blame Maresca for is man management. The rest are on sporting directors and owners. We need another centre-back after Cole. We'll buy immature defenders. We even needed a goalkeeper. We needed a lot of things. And you know what we didn't need is the amount of wingers we signed, because the manager doesn't want them. The manager isn't using them anyway. Nah, man, it's because the opposition figures out Chelsea, and then we start missing Palmer, and then there is a massive dip. Not sure if man to what exactly, but fair. Some of the subs were terrible subs. Yep. If you sack Maresca, then who do you get? The owners would look for another yes man, and we would go through the same shit. Yes, exactly this. So that's why I don't want to sack Maresca. But also Maresca fucked up, and not just this week, but last week. And I said last week, you don't ask for a manager to get sacked for having a bad game. But when you have 2 bad games in a row, it's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal. You have 2 19-year-old centre-backs. Work that out. No actual starting worst centre-back. These owners must be... okay, maybe. Xavi Simons, fumble looking really bad right now. Yep. It sure as hell is. The inexperience of Maresca is evident. He is in panic mode. It kind of feels like that. He's either in panic mode or he's trying to get sacked, like I said last week. Because these decisions just do not make sense to what we've seen from him so far, and to what the way he speaks in press conferences just doesn't align to me. And yeah, I fear that this might be the case, but I just hope it doesn't. His tactics are crap. His subs are crap. I'm not sure his tactics are crap, but yeah. The amount of immaturity we're showing lately, you'd think the latter third of last season didn't happen. This is what happens when you change the whole team again. This is exactly what happens when you change the entire team again. But yeah, I mean, let's paint the subs on, I guess, right? Because what on earth we were doing after Chalobah was sent off. So let's put Chalobah up here, right? Let's put Chalobah up here. Now, first, it was Andre Santos. Let me change him. Andre Santos that got removed for Achampong. Is Achampong on this app? Yes. So Josh Achampong was then playing right centre-back next to Hato. Now, whether the rest of the shape stayed like this or not, very much up for debate. I would argue no, but, you know, probably became more of just like a 4-4-1, I guess. That would make the most sense, I suppose, after that sub happened. So then what was the next sub? We then eventually subbed off Hato for Badiashile, which, okay, fair enough. You know, you're trying to seal up shop at the end because, you know, you're man down, bring on a more experienced centre-back than Hato, who obviously hadn't even played centre-back for us and hadn't played centre-back in his life in a long time, because at Ajax he's been almost solely playing left-back, at least last season. But then the bad one. This is the bad sub for me. He subbed Pedro Neto off for Lavia. And I don't think we made another sub after that, did we? I need to bring up FOTMob in a second to look at that. And then I have no idea what then the formation was, if I'm honest. Oh, how could I forget that we took Esteban off for Gusto? That happened even before. My apologies, guys. You probably already were screaming this in the chat. So here we are. So initially, Gusto was playing right wing. And then at some point, I honestly don't know what we were doing. These were the players that were on the pitch anyway. I'm not sure. Maybe Enzo was presumably here, but again, I don't know. There was sometimes João Pedro was on the right and Gusto was playing striker, essentially. It was wild anyway. Like, after we conceded the 1-1, and after the red card, we decided to take a winger off for Lavia. Why are you not trying to win the game? Like, I mean, protect the 1-1 at that point. Is that really worth it? Like, does it matter if we get 1 point or 0 points from this context? Because I don't think it does. I don't think it does to any of us. I don't think it does to our reaction to the game. Yeah, it might have been a 5, but Reece was not playing centre-back, bro. Unless Lavia dropped in to almost play centre-back, Reece was not playing centre-back. Reece was higher, I felt anyway. But, you know, I'm not going to make too much of a drama out of this, but it's just... I mean, it clearly wasn't, because he was the only one that was actually providing any goal threat. What subs should he have made? Well, this is a good question, Luca, and this is worth talking about. So, in my opinion, what he should have done is, after the red card, I'm okay with the substitution. He had to obviously bring Achampong on. He was the only centre-back that we had available, as far as I know. And it made sense to me to take Andre Santos off. That is fine. Could you have taken Enzo off? Sure. Could you have taken... I don't know, fucking Esteban off there already? Yeah, sure you could have done. But I'm okay with this. But straight after the 1-1, we needed fresh legs. Absolutely fair enough. And I know you had already brought Gusto on at still 1-0 up for Esteban, which was also still okay. But by that point, as much as I wouldn't have liked Reece James coming off because he's clearly important to us and nearly won us a pen at the end. You then take Reece off, you put Gusto back after you concede the equalizer, and you go for it again because there is nothing holding you there. And then you bring on Gittins and Garnacho. You bring on fucking both. That's what you do. I tell you how much. You bring on both. You bring on Gittins on this side, and then instead of bringing Lavia on for Pedro Neto, you bring on Garnacho. That's what you do. At 1-1, or at least one of them. At least one of those subs happens, right? If Pedro Neto is tired and you're like, okay, we need fresher legs on the counter, fair enough. Then you bring both of those on, or at least one of them. But you most certainly do not change your winger for a DM at 1-1 at home against a team who we are much better than, against a team who, like the chat said earlier, we bought all their best players. We literally bought all their best players. Like, oh my God. Like, the fact that Gusto is coming on in these situations over the wingers is a disgrace anyway. But like I say, just to not go too over the top, people saying, you can't do that, and, a man down, etc. So even if you didn't want to do that, you then leave Gusto on if you really have to, and you replace Neto with Garnacho. So you still have an attacker. So you can at least try. But what he did is just went full on defense mode at 1-1. I just can't believe it. I honestly just can't believe why he would have done that. It really pisses me off. How do you expect a team to attack with 10 men? What do you mean? Wait, are you asking me or are you asking Maresca? I'm not really sure. Are you having a go at me? Bro, we came back from 2-0 down with a man down at the Camp Nou against the best team in history of fucking football. What do you mean? How are you supposed to attack? If this is who you're talking about, if you opened the game, we'd not last 10 minutes. We didn't last 10 minutes, bro. We didn't last 10 minutes because you don't have an out ball. You can't relieve pressure anymore with these subs. And the exact same thing happened against Man United. We invite so much pressure because we have no out ball. All we have up front is João Pedro on his own, who is already not fit, who is already tired as fuck, chasing every ball on his own. Absolutely no one to lay any balls off to. Zero help from anybody. There's no way you have any relief ever. So you're just constantly bombarded. When you have such an inexperienced and young defense, suicide. Absolute suicide is what that is. And like I say, we came back from 2-0 down at the Camp Nou. At the Camp Nou. And we had John Terry sent off. So how do you expect to attack with 10 men? Absolute disgrace. Isak Salah licking their lips. Yep. I would have kept Neto and Esteval. Yeah, you can do, but I understand at some point you need fresh legs, right? At some point, I understand that Neto was sprinting his lungs off and not doing anything useful, but he was sprinting his lungs out. There you go. Yes. Well, actually, the round of 16, you can be less sure about because I'm very confident we'll make the top, 26 or whatever, to go into playoff. I think we'll make that comfortably. Whether we then go through the playoff is obviously then, a whole nother situation, a whole other conversation. Reece was in midfield, Gusto right wing at the end. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, at the very end, not anymore. At the very end, Gusto was just playing right back. But yeah, Maresca is not the problem. Sporting director sabotaged us big time. No manager in the world would do better with this squad. It is what it is. It's mediocrity. I agree. Maresca is not the problem. The sporting director sabotaged us big time. I agree. But what I disagree with is that no manager would do better in these situations where we had a man sent off. I disagree with that. We certainly would have done better with that. I don't even know why I kicked off so much at you, Ashraf, but I just couldn't believe what you asked me here. We go one man down, the pressure piles on top because the opponents are no longer afraid of the counters. Exactly. We park the bus with defenders who can't defend. Exactly. Ashraf, yeah, as if we got something in the last game and this game. You can't fucking defend without giving the opposition something to think about your attack. Exactly. You could even bring on Guido for Pedro. Yeah, you really could have done, especially because Pedro was tired. But he doesn't like Guido, does he? I don't think Maresca knows how to play counter-attacking football. Genuinely, that's what becoming our team of Werner. Well, at least when he's playing left wing, it's not looking good, Brev, is it? At least when he's not playing left wing. Do you expect now a discussion taking place about Maresca's future? Hello, Manuel. I hope you're well. I'm not really sure. It depends on if you're talking within the fan base, yes. If you're talking at the higher ups at the board level, at this point, I think very much no. Not yet. Now, once we get to the next international break, if fixtures against Benfica and against Liverpool go badly as well, maybe. Now, I would say no. Aziza says, blue card, the Glazers in disguise. Just different. Not better, but different. Very different. Sanderson Chalobah lost this game, not the sporting directors, not Maresca. Well, okay. But Luca, don't you think that with the players that we have and with the position that we were in and how technically good we are, we had Caicedo on the pitch, we had Enzo Fernandez on the pitch, we had Reece James on the pitch, we had Cruyer on the pitch, and we had João Pedro on the pitch. Do you not think that we should have enough quality to see out a lead against Brighton? Like, I get it if we were drawing at the time and expecting you to turn something around or you know, get a winner, being out 10 men is always difficult. But we were 1-0 up and we couldn't hack that. And then we gave it away, gave the lead away, and then we didn't even attempt to win it back. And that's just what I find disappointing. Like, even after conceding the 2-1, we still didn't make an attacking sub. Like, even after there was nothing to lose anymore, we still didn't. And that's, I mean, maybe we'd already used up all sub windows, if I'm being honest. So we weren't allowed to anymore. But even still, it's a disgrace. You shouldn't let yourself get this far. We won't get anyone decent, even if Maresca gets sacked. Exactly. We don't have quality to defend a 1-0 lead with 10 men. We fucking should. In my opinion, we do. All you have to do is pass it around. And then you leave an out ball open, a couple of quick players up front, and then you're fine. You should be fine. Now, things can happen and you can concede a goal. It happens, all right? But you need to give it a better go. you need to give it a fucking better go. Owners are to take equal blame. They should have gone all out for Guehi. And well, the only thing I think is that Guehi isn't that much better. But back to Luca's point, I just think, like, yes, they are the principle of it, same as Sanchez was obviously at United last week. But there's still a difference in how you deal with the bad hand that you dealt. And that makes a big difference. You know what I mean? Like, some managers and some players step up to the situation better than others. And I think Maresca has proved back-to-back weeks now that he was not able to step up in that situation, unfortunately. That is really unfortunate. We need to start signing proven players. Yep, but unfortunately it's September, so we ain't signing anyone. How long do you think Romeo, the mythical man, will last before he disappears into the shadows? Probably Benfica game. Yes, of course. But would a new centre-back, other winger, another goalkeeper have turned the game around? Maybe, but who knows? Well, you can argue that a new centre-back maybe wouldn't have got sent off. So, you know, you can argue it that sense. Or another winger that the manager actually likes and rates, that might have been quite decent, you know. I'm not sure about you guys, but I think that would have been quite good if we had a team and a few wingers that the manager actually liked and wanted to use, but he doesn't. He doesn't want to fucking use them. So yeah, we spent 90 million on two wingers who we don't like, who the manager doesn't like. So yeah, that's resources well spent, isn't it? That's resources well fucking spent. Now I need to see if we have any quotes, if we have anything interesting from after this game already. I've not seen it yet, but I need to see it. I need to see it. So far, there is nothing. Nope, nothing yet. I'm not sure if they're still shouting or what, because at least Matt Law said and others have reported the same thing. As soon as the game finished, the sporting directors and Iqbali, Chelsea co-controlling owner Iqbali and sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Laurenz Stewart, plus Joe Shields and Sam Jewell, all marched straight to the dressing room area at Stamford Bridge after Chelsea defeated Brighton. Brighton players were still on the pitch celebrating. See, they were quick. They were quick to move. Now, again, I don't think, you know, Maresca's getting sacked very soon, but it always depends on his comments. Like, if he loses his mind and he throws the sporting directors under the bus, which I think he has every right to do, but then they might start considering sacking him. Do you know what I mean? Imagine not blaming the sporting directors. Exactly. Imagine not blaming the sporting directors. But like I say, that doesn't mean that tonight Maresca didn't fuck up, same as he last week fucked up. You know, both things can be true at the same time, and I think that's important to remember here. But all of us asked for playing Santos a mistake, asked for Josh arguably to blame for 2 goals. Well, I sure as hell didn't ask to start Santos. I don't know why everybody else did. My stance is, you hate on Enzo Fernandez all you want. He is our only guy to score important goals. So taking Enzo Fernandez out of the team is literally the stupidest thing you could do at Chelsea right now. Because without Enzo Fernandez, no one is scoring any goals. So good luck with that. I know people wanted that, but it was always stupid. Garnacho was just signed to sell merch, but no one likes Garnacho. Garnacho doesn't sell merch. Everyone thinks he's a clown. And he also has the number 49, which is the least attractive number for anyone to buy ever. So we're not selling any merch with Garnacho. I'm telling you that much, bro. Trevoh says, 100% agree with Laurenz. As soon as I saw this manager trying to play for a draw instead of being brave, I knew we lost. Well, yeah, exactly that. It's just about the principle. It's just about the principle. Chasey, what the actual fuck was that sub? We were a man down against Brighton at home, not prime Barca or Madrid. Then they equalised, and instead of pushing for a win, we subbed on another defensive player. Yep. That's exactly what we did. And I genuinely can't believe that's what we did. Do we have any hope of beating Liverpool next week? Nope. we do not. We absolutely do not. Now, let me bring up FotMob for the first time today, because I just want to show you something wild. Obviously, you can see the scoreline, red card, etc. Look at the XG here. And I'll show you the first half now. They had 0.11 XG at halftime. 0.11. In the second half, 1.90. And they weren't even given a penalty that they should have had. Absolute joke, man. We had 0 shots on target in the second half, by the way. Supposedly one big chance. Not sure when that was supposed to have been. But there you go. It was poor in total. Like I say, the first half was decent. You know, we played pretty well, scored a decent goal. Could have scored a couple of more with better decision-making and a bit more luck in certain situations. But then took a foot off the gas and then had a man sent off and then just started to capitulate more and more and more. And this is what I worry about so much. The manager's capitulating. The players are capitulating. Everybody's just fucking capitulating. And look at this form, man. Look at this form. Draw against Brentford, loss against Bayern, loss against United, scrappy win against Lincoln, and another loss against Brighton. It's just a disgrace, if we're being honest. And I hate how the fixtures are like this. But anyway, we've got Benfica now. We've got Liverpool after that. We've got, well, then it's the international break, and then we've got Forest after that, which is going to be the early kickoff on Saturday, straight after international break, after Caicedo flies back from South America, after João Pedro flies back from South America. The same for Esteval, the same for Enzo Fernandez. I don't think Garnacho will be in the squad, but theoretically the same for Garnacho as well. So it's going to be dire. So I'm not expecting more than a point in that game against Forest either. So that's going to be brilliant. We must beat Benfica. We must beat Benfica. Jose, please make be Chelsea agent Jose Mourinho and help us get the dub, please. And against Liverpool, honestly, I don't have any hope. Absolutely any hope. Fab with the super chat. Absolutely outrageous. Appreciate you, mate. He says, which players have these owners bought, except Palmer, Cruyer, and Caicedo, that have justified their fee? Yeah, that's a good fucking question, that, mate. And on top of that, Cruyer, first of all, initially didn't, and wasn't even brought by... Where's the squad there? Wasn't even brought, obviously, by the sporting directors. He was signed by Bowley before that. So that is an issue in and of itself, isn't it? But let's go through it. Obviously, Palmer is a fair shout. Robert Sanchez? No. Philip Jurgensen? No. Slonina? Absolute waste of money. Reece James, obviously, taken out of that equation. Malagusto, one good season, one bad season, and the start of this season, very 50-50. Axel Disasi? Terrible. Tosin? Free signings, so all right. Badiashile? Terrible. Kobo? Obviously, academy. Trevoh Chalobah? Well, fucked up today, but still one of our only saving graces usually, and they sent him out on loan already and brought him back. Cucurella, you touched on. Choral Hato, you know, jury is still out, but I'm not impressed. Well, no, it's a lie. I was all rightly impressed with him today, but still, 37 million? I mean, Enzo Fernandez, I mean, you clearly aren't a fan of him, MFAB, considering the way you asked the question, but only Haaland and Mo Salah have more goal contributions than Enzo Fernandez in 2025 of any Premier League team. So, you know, scored again today. Now, is he fully worth his 105 million? Is he playing like a 105 million pound player? I would agree with you that he hasn't, but he's still a good player. You know what I mean? Andre Santos, as much as he obviously messed up today, we signed him for 12.5 million euros. So, yeah, that very much worked out. Like I said, obviously, you touched on Lavia, always injured, terrible. Palmer, obviously, you touched on Garnacho, shocking. Sterling, shocking. Neto, sometimes good, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. When he plays right wing, decent. When he plays left wing, absolutely awful. Facundo Buonanotte, I don't even want to talk about. Esteval, so far, I would say very much a positive, but there you go. Mudryk, well, maybe the worst signing in history of sport. Jamie Gittins, the second worst signing in history of sport. Tyreek George, Liam Delap, well, with the injury, yeah. João Pedro looks decent, but has also obviously dropped off a lot. But being tired, being injured, being tired, not being fully fit, the red cards, always attacking on his own. It's difficult, but it's difficult. So I would say I'll add to your list, and obviously that we could talk about more players that we've just already sold, right? Like Nicholas Jackson, for example, just shouldn't have been sold, but in terms of a signing, was a good signing. But yeah, I would just add to the names you've mentioned. I would add Andre Santos, and for now, I would still add Esteban. But then that's it. Maybe Enzo, but certainly not quite that transfer fee. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not fucking pretty, is it? We can't even look at any performances. We've bad to mediocre all season outside West Ham yet. Both Pedro's. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll agree with Pedro Neto yet. Like 60 million is not done enough for that to be like fully a good signing. Yeah, maybe Enzo, Esteban, yeah, fair. Shambles of a second half, top 4 race again. Ole teams. Mate, at this point, with our current form and our injuries, I think making top 4 I would already be happy with. or top 5 even, because obviously that will be that. Did we have 6 or 7 defenders on the pitch and we got torn apart worse than Bonnie Blue? Yeah. But why is that? Because you don't defend just with defenders. It's modern football, and Maresca knows this. You defend by pressing high, and you defend by, pushing them on all areas of the pitch. You don't just let them go into the final third and then try to park the bus. We are not good at that. Liam Delap will come good. He has Premier League experience and doesn't have that price tag on him. Well, he has Premier League experience, but he got relegated with that experience. So there you go. I was actually impressed with Hato, considering how little game time he was given. Yeah, no, I agree. He was decent today. I was not happy with him so far in midfield when he's played, but today I was actually all right with that. But you can't play him regularly as a centre back who's too small. Nah, Karan, now you're being stupid, man. The guy's on 28 goal contributions this year? Mate, come on. A 4 season of blue coat, the future is here. No, the future will never come. And still inconsistent 3 years in, that's his problem, in my opinion. Yeah, inconsistent for sure, but then, the man hasn't had a break. Since moving from River Plate to Benfica, he hasn't had a break, literally. So it's harsh a bit, isn't it? It's harsh. Did you check out Matt Law's tweet about the staff going into, or Ekbali and the sporting directors running into the dressing room? Yes, I did see that. Have we still not said anything? Maresca's taking his time to speak to the media post-match, coming up to an hour since the game finished, and he has still not come to see us. Well, he's letting everybody wait. Is he angry at the squad? I don't know. He might well be. Actually, maybe we should go back to this, right? To have this on screen, it makes a bit more sense. Same shit, different day, man. Yep, João Pedro looks better in the 10 than in the 9. I agree, but we don't have any strikers. But I'm not happy with Josh Achampong not starting. I mean, same, but at the same time, we spent 37 million on Atto, so are you surprised, really? Maybe not. Would it come to a point that we start missing Jackson? Mate, I've missed Jackson the day we sold him. Because the day we loaned him. That day, it was already very abundantly clear that it was a stupid decision, because obviously that very day, Liam Delap got injured. And the second Liam Delap got injured, letting go of Jackson was stupid. Honestly, frankly, letting go of Jackson was already stupid, even if Liam Delap hadn't gotten injured. Chelsea love to ruin my weekend. I work all week to deal with this nonsense. Yeah, just say, don't we all, bro? Don't we all? But hey, try being a Ferrari fan instead. Much happier life. Fucking hell. Brilliant. Liam got 12 goals with a shit team. What are you talking about? You can't save a team when 10 out of 11 are garbage. Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing, but it's a completely, you can't just say Premier League experience. Raheem Sterling had plenty of Premier League experience. Look how fucking shite he was. But it's a completely different type of football. Liam Delap has never even known what a low block looked like, while we play against the low block almost every single game. You know what I mean? And we've not, seen it again. You know what I mean? Are we officially in another top 5 race? Yeah. And we were when the season started, in my opinion. I'm not sure why everybody's so surprised about this. Did you not see Jackson's 1v1 yesterday? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But it still doesn't mean that we wouldn't be better off with having him in the squad, mate. That's still a fact. Someone reported that the boards are considering De Serbi and Iraola. We knew Iraola already. Let them consider who they want. By the way, if they get Iraola, I will not be impressed because I can't be bothered for another back 3 merchant. I really cannot, mate. Leave me alone. And De Serbi is a sex offender. No, he is not. He's a defender of sex offenders. Delap had zero pressure at his old club at Chelsea as is a sole striker. Yep. M Fab with another super chat. Appreciate you, man. Given how many transfer failures, you have to say, why do the sporting director still have a job? And I hate to say, Carragher has a point. Now, of course, Carragher has a point. Carragher doesn't have a point when he goes too far, when he loses it himself in his own frustration at how stupid we are. But in principle, he is spot on. We should have acted differently after the Club World Cup. We should have signed different players all along. The structure doesn't really work because of UEFA's financial or penalty against us. all these extra surplus players that we have to generate money with didn't help and didn't make a difference because only sales out of a UEFA A-list squad counted. And that's not how this system is supposed to operate. And we have this penalty, this limitation for 3 years. So like another 2 years. So yeah, that's going to be fun. But yeah, I have no idea why the sporting directors still have a job. But not only that, MFAB, not only do they still have a job, they got a contract extension a month ago. They got a contract extension a month ago. It blows your mind, doesn't it? It absolutely blows your mind. And it just makes you sad. It just makes you cry. It genuinely does. Loco Coco Pops says it has to be Cesc. Honestly, if we get a new manager, bring me Cesc. I would much rather Cesc than De Zerbi or Iraola. But Cesc Fabregas looks like a man with brain power to me. So I don't think he will say yes. Just like, if you remember, guys, Arne Slot was also very much of interest to Chelsea when we instead hired Pochettino in the end. Arne Slot was even on a private jet with Todd Bowley. Todd Bowley trying to convince him to join us. Arne Slot said no. Think about why. Think about why he said no. Don't compare Shillings to the Lab. That was not a good comparison. I'm not sure who Shillings is, but sure. Yeah, man. And perhaps what can I even say? I don't know why they still have a job. I've asked myself this question not just for a few weeks. I've asked myself this question for well over a year. So at this point, I've also lost hope that they will ever lose their job. So yeah, this is why I've also I start being critical of the manager because I'm like, there's no chance the sporting directors change anyway. But again, I don't want the manager to go, but I also think it's already inevitable that he will because he moans too much about what they do, and he puts too much blame on things that are out of his control. And they won't like that. So in the end, they will probably get rid of him. He's right. Don't like Herrera, but his criticism of Chelsea have been on point. Not always, but, the last few days, yes. MPub says it. Can't speak. Cesc is a winner. Winners on, yes, man. Yep, exactly. Whoa, fucking hell. It's 3 a.m. in Australia. I don't know why I do this to myself. Preseason gave us hope, and now it feels like last season all over again. Well, honestly, we didn't really have preseason, though, did we? We had 2 games a week before the Prem started, unless you meant the Club World Cup. And I think we've just been rated by the Carefree Lewis G channel. So everybody that's tuned in from Lewis's channel, big ups yourself. Thank you, Lewis. My guy, I appreciate you very, very much. Hope you're well, my bro. Probably not after how we're playing, but I appreciate you, my guy. And everybody that's tuned in now, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Be massively appreciated. Maresca is an excuse man. I'm not really sure if excuse man is the right word, but yeah, I do agree, MPubs, but I think he'd go for it. He's young enough. The fans would back him. The fans would certainly back him, much more than they've backed a lot of other people, but I think Cesc would say no. Cesc won't come. He's smart enough not to sabotage his career with the current Chelsea owners unless they throw an insane amount of money at him, which we won't because we don't throw an insane amount of money at anybody. But I would disagree with the sabotage his career because I think, for example, if Enzo Maresca gets sacked soon, I think he's come out of Chelsea looking absolutely brilliant and he will get a top job soon. So I don't really think, because everybody knows that the situation you're given at Chelsea doesn't help you. Everybody, people don't really look bad upon you. Okay, you couldn't hack the being down to 10 men situation. But otherwise, Maresca has done a very good job. If Maresca gets sacked, he will not struggle to get a new job. So I'm not really sure if joining us is career sabotage for the managers. But yeah, I still see what you mean. Too early for Maresca out. I think it's too early for Maresca out, but it's mostly that's just not the point, in my opinion, because I just think there's much bigger issues that will not get solved anyway. And the people that cause the most issues will be the people that choose whoever comes after Maresca if Maresca does get sacked. So it doesn't really help anyone, is my problem, right? Everything went downhill in 2022. Oh, yes. This team is so childish, and a so-called manager does nothing to help the situation. I agree. Maresca always panic when we have a red card. Why did he sub Esteban for Gusto? I don't know. At that point, we were still at least 1-0 up, so I can see some logic in doing that. Still get some extra pace, some outball to the wing. Hopefully, you can put a cross in and someone can tap it in. I get that. But as soon as it went to 1-1 to make an extra 2 defensive subs, disgrace. Conte won as a league. Have some respect. I'm not sure who you guys talking about. But yeah, there you go. Have I seen anything else? Well, to be fair, Maresca is Italian. His influence were Sacchi, Lippi, and Don Carlo. He's supposed to go defensive after their Reds. Okay. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not sure if Sacchi would have necessarily done that, but I'm also not enough clued up to make a full judgment on that. But like I say, it matters what level of club you're at and what your resources are compared to another team's resources. And I think we should be a good enough team to at least try and go for a winner at 1-1, because there is no point in 1 point. Like, we would have all lost our mind if we drew this game 1-1. Would have all been just as angry as we are right now. I don't think conceding that second or that third goal made a single difference to how I feel right now and how I view the game and how I view the mistakes that were made, if I'm being honest. So I just think you should have gone for it. Like, even the defensive subs, we conceded 2 goals. So if anything, the way the game went at the very end makes an even stronger case for why we should have made more attacking subs rather than defensive subs. Chelsea, Bayern, Manchester United player 45 mil plus and don't use him. Yep. That's what we do. I hope when Maresca enters the changing room on Monday, he only sees Sterling and Disasi. That's funny. Yeah, the main problem can't be solved, so why not solve the solvable ones, like getting rid of Maresca and Sanchez? Whoa. Actually, getting rid of Sanchez is not currently a solvable problem. And also, did you watch the Lincoln game, bro? Well, because that's your immediate way of solving that problem by putting Jurgensen in. But you don't want to be doing that, mate. You don't want to be doing that whatsoever. So, yeah. I just don't think getting rid of Maresca helps the situation, because either it's a manager that's worse than Maresca, but a yes man, and then it plays along with the bullshit that the sport directors pull, or he's a better manager than Maresca, and then it will clash and burn even sooner. So I don't really think there's a solution. I genuinely don't. And again, whoever Maresca hasn't often used has come on the pitch and proved Maresca right to delay, giving them chances. Fairs. But also, except Garnacho. Like, I don't like Garnacho, but Garnacho looked decent at Bayern. Garnacho looked decent against Lincoln and did more than most other players. I said, okay, decent against Lincoln is a stretch. I'll have that. But against Bayern, he was all right, I thought. What should Maresca do when our kids, our players, are collecting red cards left, right, and centre, already being betrayed by the signings? Yeah, I mean, Cypher Blue, that's also valid. Like, I'm not saying that there's only one opinion here, but like I say, both things can be true. Maresca can have been screwed over. Maresca can not be at fault for certain things like the red cards, but Maresca is at fault for how he reacts to the red cards. And I'm just not happy with how he reacted to it. There is no fucking excuse of losing this game 3-1. Going down to 10 men doesn't mean you will lose. Exactly, especially being 1-0 up at that point. I would take Mike Penders over Sanchez. Yeah, as would everybody. I would also take Petrovic over Sanchez, but we instead sold him. If you were resilient and experienced, maybe you can go defensive knowing you won't succeed, but you just knew as soon as the red card was given. Yeah, very good point. We do not have the squad to react to a red card the way Maresca reacted to a red card. Yeah, it's a very good point. Well, apparently, the owners did not sign a new keeper, was not a hinder to the growth of this Belgium kid we have signed. Well, yeah. But he's at Strasbourg right now. So you could have just signed Manuel, and you could have sold him again after a year or two. And then you could have brought Mike Penders in, and it would have been fine. You know? Nothing would have stopped there. Even when we were 1-0 ahead, the amount of misplaced passes Sanchez had was humiliating. I mean, it was long balls, and that is instruction. But yes, I was not happy with his passing for sure. What should Maresca do when I play? Okay, you already said this. Red cards. Oh, basically. Although Maresca has been... Yeah, no, you did already say this. We all knew red card meant game was over. It's telling deep down that we are not good enough. Fans already depressed. Actually, I thought we would hold on, but clearly I was proved wrong. None of the players look bothered at the end of the game. Just here to get paid, and the fans feel the pain. I don't agree with that, but fair. I spoke to the Regulars. I have no idea. Garnacho, Gittins, waste of money. Jackson Lowe, recall Mark Guiu, not Guehi, just for him to rot. Yeah, our squad is not able to see through the 1-0 on a red, period. Yeah, and clearly we're not. I thought we were, but we're not. I was just simply wrong. Yeah, I had hopes in the likes of... Yeah, let me get up Maresca's quotes. That we finally have some quotes. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be massively appreciated. Hit that like button if you haven't done that either. Let's get to 100 likes. Go down below and hit that like button for me right now. Maresca said, "I told the players in the Premier League you can't keep giving away presents. That's what we're doing at the moment. We need to learn, and we need to learn quickly. It can be a mix of experience, or it can be a mix of a simple mistake." Yeah, and it can also be a mix of a simple mistake from you with the substitutions that you make. And I don't like that he doesn't even sit here and take account for himself. Because Thomas Tuchel takes account for himself. And took account for himself. Not every time, but sometimes. And it helped. Excuses incoming. Honestly, it's not even an excuse. He just said a full-on truth. Any hope against Benfica? I mean, I have hope against Benfica, but I try to be ever optimistic going into games, other than certain games like Liverpool next week. I have zero hope. At least absolutely zero hope of a win. But ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm about to wrap this one up. Because what else can I do? What else can I say? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm just frustrated. I'm incredibly frustrated. I'm incredibly sad. And I'm, like I say, just annoyed by what's happening to us. Like mistakes for 3+ years, yeah. But more music, why is this happening? Because we just change the squad every 3 years. If we stuck to those two players that we signed 3 years ago and kept them in the squad, kept your Maduekes, kept your Jacksons, kept a few others, we'd be in a much better position than with the signings that we've made since. Like, not every signing, but the large chunk, the kind of the squad filler signings is the problem. Did you guys put out your podcast on Spotify yet? It's always been on Spotify, bro. It's always been on Spotify. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but not today's. Not a reaction to today's game yet, no. Because I literally came on here straight after the game finished, or as soon as I could anyway. But me and Pys should be recording that late tonight at some point. And we will record that and put it out at some point during the night. And, at best, it should be out in the morning for you guys to listen to. Manuel says, how do you think will our backline look against Liverpool? Well, I think it will be Cucurella. I fear it will be Badiashile. I hope it will be Hato, but probably Badiashile and Achimpong. Maybe Hato and Badiashile, even though two left footers will be kind of crazy. But I guess if you play one of them central centre back and you leave Reece back and you let Cuckoo go into midfield, it could work, I guess. But yeah, that's what I think the backline will be. I mean, unless Tosin makes a recovery, he supposedly only has a calf problem, so it's not like deemed a pretty bad injury. But yeah, Achimpong also pretty shocking today. It has to be said, at 4 for 2 goals. I'm not really sure if I'm going to give him fault for the second goal. If I'm the 2-1, if I'm being honest, it was Achimpong and Hato. I would argue that Achimpong had to remain at the front post, and the header was more in the middle, so it was more Hato's man, even though it looks like Achimpong is the closest to him. I think it's more Hato losing him, actually, in my opinion, than Achimpong. The second one, the 3-1 you can talk about, but the 3-1, I honestly, I didn't even pay attention to the replay. I don't even really fully know how the 3-1 happened. Now, I know corner routine and then headed across and then tapped in. I know, but it doesn't really matter. But that point, 2-1 down, man down, I don't care who concedes and who's at fault for a goal. By that point, it's irrelevant. But yeah, there you go. Our backline today looked a lot better before the red card. It did. What era does this remind you of? Potter era or Poch era? Neither. Because we already achieved 1 trillion times more than we did under both. But it reminds me most of Potter right now because of the injury crisis. Because we had a crazy injury crisis on the Potter as well, obviously. Now, we also had bad injuries on the Poch, don't get me wrong. But I felt like it was worse on the Potter, and it's really bad now. Really bad now. Led says, yes, there was a red card, but no shot on goal. Second half speaks for a lack of ideas again. I'm not really sure if it's a lack of ideas as such, but, for a large chunk of time, we were obviously still 1-0 up. So at that point, it's fine. Being a man down and being 1-0 up, it's fine not having shots on target. I'm okay with that. But as soon as you concede the equalize, you need to go for it. And that's what we didn't. And that's what I'm so annoyed about. That's what I'm so annoyed and frustrated about. I wanted to highlight this again, but there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody that has tuned in today. Again, hit the like button once for me. How many likes do we have right now? We only have 35 likes. And guys, quite frankly, we have over 200 people watching. That is a bit of a disgrace. So I would please ask you, make me feel a little bit better. Go down below and hit that like button. It's just one little click of a button that you need to click. It's very easy. It's very quick. It doesn't cost you any money. If you don't have a Google account and that's why you're not hitting the like button, please do get a Google account and hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. Let's get to 100 likes, guys. Hit it right now before you leave the stream. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet. That'd be very nice. But yeah, I appreciate it. Ukru says Maresca out. We do lack ideas because Maresca is so single-minded. I disagree with this. Hato was very good in this game. I actually agree, Facey. I actually agree. Loco says, good show. Appreciate you, Loco. Appreciate you. I hope I see you again next time. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, A8 Ali Reza. I feel like I'm butchering your name, but then I read it again and it still sounds like I said it. So there you go. Appreciate you, A8. I appreciate you. But yeah, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, up the chills, upwards and onwards, and I will see you next time.